In January of 1982, sailor Steven Callahan set out alone across the Atlantic Ocean aboard a small sailboat named Napoleon Solo. He had spent years preparing for the voyage. Callahan was an experienced sailor, a boat builder, and a designer who understood the ocean better than most people. But the Atlantic Ocean has a way of reminding even the most prepared sailors how little control they truly have. About a week into the journey, somewhere in the darkness of the night, Callahan was jolted awake by a violent explosion. Water was rushing into the cabin. The hull of the sailboat had been punctured by something in the ocean. Within minutes, it became clear that the boat could not be saved. Callahan had only moments to react. He grabbed what supplies he could reach and climbed into a small inflatable life raft as his sailboat slowly disappeared beneath the waves. Now he was alone, floating in the open Atlantic Ocean, hundreds of miles from land. The life raft was only about 6 feet wide. It was never designed for long-term survival, but it was now the only thing standing between Callahan and the ocean. At first, the situation didn't seem impossible. Ships crossed the Atlantic regularly. Surely someone would find him within a few days. But the ocean is vast. A small life raft drifting between waves is nearly invisible. Days passed, then weeks. Food became the first challenge. Callahan had very little stored food. To survive, he needed to catch fish. But catching fish without proper equipment in the open ocean is not easy. Using small hooks and pieces of metal, he improvised fishing tools. Sometimes he caught small fish, sometimes larger fish like Dorado. These fish became his primary food source. Water was an even greater challenge. Without fresh water, survival at sea becomes impossible within days. Callahan built a system using plastic containers and fabric to collect rainwater whenever storms passed. When rain did not come, dehydration slowly became a threat. But survival at sea is not only a physical battle. It is also a psychological one. Isolation can slowly break a person's sense of time and hope. When someone drifts alone for weeks, the mind begins to behave differently. Days blend together. Sunrise, sunset, darkness. Then the same cycle begins again. Callahan began talking aloud to himself simply to hear a human voice. He carefully documented his situation in a small journal to keep track of time. And every day he scanned the horizon, hoping to see a passing ship. But the ocean remained empty. Another presence began appearing beneath the raft. Sharks. Open ocean predators are naturally curious. They investigate floating objects, especially when fish are being cleaned nearby. Sometimes sharks would circle the life raft for hours, their dark shapes moving slowly beneath the surface. Callahan understood that the raft itself was fragile. One bite from a large shark could end everything. Storms added another danger. Waves crashed over the small raft. Salt water soaked his skin. The sun burned relentlessly during the day, and nights brought freezing temperatures. Yet the human body can endure incredible conditions when survival becomes the only goal. Weeks passed, then more weeks. Callahan drifted across the Atlantic Ocean, carried only by wind and current. At one point, he encountered a school of dolphins that swam near the raft. Moments like that helped him remember that the ocean was not only dangerous, it was also alive. Finally, after drifting for 76 days across the Atlantic Ocean, land appeared on the horizon. The currents had carried Callahan all the way to the Caribbean. He had survived one of the most extraordinary solo ocean survival ordeals ever recorded. 76 days in a small life raft, surviving on fish, rainwater, and determination. The story of Steven Callahan reminds us that survival at sea is rarely about strength alone. It is about patience, adaptation, and the quiet ability to endure when the ocean removes all control. In the midst of his struggle to stave off despair, Callahan found solace in small victories. Each fish he caught brought not only nourishment but a flicker of hope. He learned to appreciate the delicate balance of life around him, marveling at the way sunlight glistened on the waves and the occasional call of seabirds. Yet, the reality of his isolation weighed heavily on him. Every sunrise could have brought a rescue, yet it often marked another day of uncertainty and survival. Days stretched into a monotony that threatened to consume him, but he fought back against the creeping shadows of doubt. Each mark in his journal signified not just the passage of time, but also a testament to his resilience. As Callahan drifted further into an abyss of uncertainty, he began to reflect on his life before the ocean swallowed him whole. Memories of family gatherings and laughter flickered through his mind like the distant sun dancing on the waves. He thought of the challenges he had overcome in his past, reminding himself that the same determination that led him to set sail was still within him. Amid the chaos of the ocean, he found a way to make peace with his situation, embracing the saltiness of his tears as he gazed into the endless blue. Hope, however fragile, anchored him as he fought against the tides of despair that threatened to take him under. Despite the relentless passage of time, Steven Callahan's spirit remained unbroken as he nudged the boundaries of human resilience. He developed rituals to maintain some semblance of normalcy. Each morning began with a deep breath, a salute to the day ahead. He would meticulously observe the skies, marking changes in wind patterns as if they were clues leading to his salvation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, he'd reflect on the lessons learned, from the quiet strength within to the boundless beauty of his surroundings. These moments became not only a means of survival, but also a preservation of sanity, turning the vast ocean into his classroom. He relished fleeting moments of calm when the world felt still, even if only for a heartbeat, as he forged an intimate connection with the elements around him. Through every wave and gust, he understood that each encounter, be it with a fish or a passing cloud, was an affirmation of life amid chaos. Each night beneath the stars carried whispers of courage as he marveled at the sparkling constellations above, reminding him that he was but a small part of this immense universe. As time wore on, the ocean transformed from an intimidating expanse into a strange companion. Callahan learned to interpret its moods, noting how certain swells signaled an approaching storm or a gentle breeze hinted at the possibility of rain. The water became a canvas of emotions, filled with shifting colors and rhythms that reflected his own turbulent thoughts. With every passing day, he adapted to the unpredictable nature of the sea, finding a fragile comfort in its embrace. He embraced each moment as a lesson and a gift, realizing that survival was not merely a test of strength, but also an art of observation and understanding. As the days continued to blend into one another, Callahan's ingenuity took center stage. He crafted an improvised fishing net from scraps he had, a testament to his ability to innovate under pressure. This net, if successful, could increase his chances of catching larger quantities of fish, which he now craved not just for sustenance, but for the fleeting thrill of success. One morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon, glinting off the water's surface, he cast his net with a fervent hope, feeling a spark of purpose ignite within him. Time seemed to suspend as he waited, feeling the gentle pull of the current against his raft, and for a moment, the looming dread of isolation faded away, replaced by a single vivid desire: survival. In that moment, he was not just an isolated sailor, he was a master of his fate, grappling with the relentless sea in a dance of will and determination. The ocean, vast and unforgiving, also offered moments of connection that gave him strength. As he drew the net back into the raft, he sensed the flicker of possibility. With a sudden tug on the line, Callahan's heart raced as he felt the weight of something substantial. Pulling with all his might, he caught a glimpse of shimmering scales breaking the surface. A large dorado thrashed against the entangled net, fighting for freedom, yet Callahan's determination outweighed the fish's desperation, marking a critical moment in his struggle for life. As he finally pulled the fish into the raft, elation surged through him, a buoyant force against the oppressive sea. In that moment, Callahan didn't just see a meal. He saw life reaffirmed, a reminder that beneath the relentless expanse of water, hope still flickered fiercely within him.